What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy 2024, people. A new year is upon us, but is a new Arsenal upon us, or is it just the same old Arsenal? Arsenal therapy back in full effect, people. That is something, unfortunately, we cannot leave in 2023. It is back, and it's bigger than ever, unfortunately. We lost to West Ham midweek, and it was Fulham yesterday. Obviously, Arsenal don't like that swine, man. They don't like that pork. West Ham and Fulham dealt with Arsenal, people, and we made Iwobi and Willian look like Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. yesterday. So listen, big up to everyone. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And we've got a lot to talk about, man. The transfer window opens today, which means we can sign players, but, you know, knowing Arsenal, it's just Monday. You know, they don't care that the transfer window's open. So we got a lot to talk about. But listen, Happy New Year to the community. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good night last night. Hope you didn't let that stupid Arsenal result mash up the weekend. You know, ain't it interesting, man? Willian, he came to Arsenal on the back of his best ever season at Chelsea. Comes to Arsenal, he's a shocking player. He actually ended up with a belly on him by the time he left Arsenal. 2.5 years later, he's cooking us playing for Fulham. You just couldn't write the script, could you? But anyway, lots to talk about. Hope you're all well. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we was on time today. I'm just letting you know, people. We was on time, people. And yeah, the burning room with Arteta saying it's fine just felt appropriate because, you know, I'm sure he will try and justify these performances somehow with trust the process or give it more time, or, you know, what phase are we in? But same old Arsenal. But listen, big up to everyone tuned in. Hope you're well. We got loads to talk about today. Absolutely loads. And as I always say, you need a sense of humour to be an Arsenal fan, because at times you can't believe what is happening at this football club. Within a week, we've gone from a potential title race to a potential top 4 race, which is something only Arsenal could do in such a short period of time. Where should we start? Let's get yesterday's game out of the way, because to be honest, the less said about that game, the better. This was a Fulham team that had lost 3-0 last week to Bournemouth. They'd lost 2-0 the week before to Burnley. And then Santa Claus FC rolls into town and says, here's 3 points. Make sure you don't get relegated. Despite the fact we were 1-0 up inside 4 minutes. Bernd Leno, goalkeeper deemed not good enough. Willian, who Arteta apparently said we would win the Champions League within 3 years of him signing. That didn't quite work out. And Alex Iwobi. All decided that Arsenal weren't particularly good yesterday. Iwobi's hitting the griddy as he leaves the pitch. So, yeah, the less said about that, the better. But we're going to talk about it. Press conference reaction, transfer news. Player ratings are not going to be for the faint-hearted. That's all I can say. This is my pre-warning. If you were one of them, you know, who think, you know, all these Arsenal players are great and, you know, of course, listen, the title race isn't over mathematically. It's just the way we're playing, the way things look, the way this manager looks at the moment. I'm trying to balance out the issue, and I'm just saying, listen, just get top 4, because I don't think we're winning anything this season. Honestly, I'm not sure we'll be in the FA Cup by 6:30 on Sunday evening after playing Liverpool. That's a whole other discussion. This manager we're going to talk about in great detail today. But this player ratings are not for the faint-hearted. If you're of a nervous disposition, get yourself out of this stream. Other channels are available. These player ratings are going to be brutal. Absolutely brutal. I'm not holding back. Some of the performances today were an absolute disgrace. And some of these players, to be honest, should never play for this football club again. The transfer window's open. Some of them should have left already. But we know it's Arsenal, it's Arteta, and some of these guys will continue plodding along until the end of the season. Other channels are available, people. You know, other channels are available. I'm going to be honest, I doubt you'll even get a 6 out of 10. So I'm just letting you know from that. I don't think you'll get a 6 out of 10 for any player. on yesterday's performance. And as I've said, a defeat doesn't mean every player played bad, and a win doesn't mean every player played well. But I'm sorry, there was nothing on that pitch yesterday that I can praise. Arsenal lost 2-1. They took the lead 1-0. Saka inside 5 minutes. Raul Jimenez scored after 29 minutes. And Cordova Reed scored the winner. And Fulham looked like Real Madrid in that second half. Raul Jimenez, who almost had to retire against Arsenal with that David Luiz injury, looked like prime Diego Costa against us yesterday. And we couldn't handle Fulham, which says a lot about this football club when they've got 3 or 4 players that we binned. Player ratings. Wow. This is probably going to be the lowest of the season. And some things are going to be said about some of these players, people. So get yourself ready. Therapy session is well and truly about to begin. Let me read out these super chats. Brian said, we need Arsenal FC fully audited to get to the bottom of this mess. 10 lawyers in business suits going through all the documents. I agree. Somebody should be investigated for what's happening at this football club. We left Highbury to compete with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, and we're getting beaten by Fulham comfortably after spending nearly £1 billion. Cole said, time to focus 100% on the Champions League and the FA Cup. Listen, I mean, I doubt very much we win, but you never know. FA Cup, yeah, we need luck of the draw, but we got to beat Liverpool first, and I'm not even confident with that. I hope Salah's at AFCON by that game. Richard said, I knew deep down Arteta wasn't the one when we drew to Fulham at the beginning of the season. It's time we get someone who can take us over the line. And I agree. I got to be honest, people. I'm at that point now with Arteta. I don't think he's the guy. I never really did. But, of course, last season kind of made me think, maybe you've misjudged this a little bit. If he has a big season, gets the right players, maybe he goes one step further. Forget it. Stop pumping your money into him. It ain't going to happen. The talent ID isn't good enough. Oliver said 4 effing years without winning anything is enough. Enough is enough. Sack him now to save the season. He hasn't even reached a cup final since winning that FA Cup final with a team full of players that he couldn't wait to bin. Couldn't wait to get rid of them. Since he built his own team, hasn't even got near a final. Big up, David. Hope you're well, bro. He said, Happy New Year, brother. I don't understand how on the 31st of December, I'm screaming at my TV, feeling like this again. Every year, same BS. Fire everyone. I mean, as I keep saying, it's like watching the Titanic thinking it's going to miss the iceberg. We know what happens. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to end up in the water freezing cold. And right now we're in the water freezing cold, people. Cooper said, I've seen enough. Arteta out. Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. Get me a world-class manager. But listen, let's get into the player ratings, people. Let's get into the player ratings. David Raya didn't do anything particularly wrong yesterday, but I'm just at this point with David Raya. You're no better than Aaron Ramsdale. I've seen enough. Yeah, distribution's good. Good on the ball. Are we benefiting from it that much? Did we look comfortable at the back yesterday by having a goalkeeper that can pass the ball? No. Did we look comfortable against West Ham? Not really either. He played a couple nice passes. So what you've brought him in for, okay, yeah, he's great on the ball. We don't benefit from it anyway. There's no point having a goalkeeper that's great on the ball if he's passing the ball to Kivior. Because what's Kivior going to do when he gets the ball? He's going to have a panic. So it's pointless. I'm not blaming him for the goals. Goals weren't his fault. Defence did nothing. Conceded 2. Didn't make any particularly good saves. I'm giving him 5 out of 10. I'm not going to rip him apart because he certainly wasn't really at fault. And he did throw the ball out for the goal quickly, so I'll give him some credit. But I don't think he's better than Ramsdale. And I said it yesterday, people. When you drop a player out of a starting 11, and people don't think the guy that comes in is an upgrade, you can lose players in the dressing room. You can see that Aaron Ramsdale is a very popular figure. He talks a lot to the back four. He's somebody that they like. To see him get binned, I think you've put people's noses out of joint in that dressing room. They've probably sat there and gone, okay, well, you've binned him, you've brought in Raya, let's see what he's about. And they're looking, going, hang on a minute, he's not even better than the guy you've just got rid of. I honestly think that David Raya signing has affected the morale of this dressing room. I genuinely do. And I said last season, I'm not even the biggest fan of Aaron Ramsdale. I wouldn't have had a problem with getting a new goalkeeper if you were signing a world-class goalkeeper. But I don't think you needed to do that. And I honestly saw signs yesterday that all is not well in that dressing room. We'll speak about it. David Raya gets a 5, and I don't think he's better than Ramsdale, and I don't think you needed to buy him. If you're buying him, upgrade him. You don't go to the phone shop with the iPhone 14 and get a new iPhone 14. You get the iPhone 15 when the upgrade's available. We went in the shop and brought the same phone out, and we're paying more every month. It makes no sense. Chris said same with United. Bin in De Gea completely disjointed the team for Onana. Let's go to the back four. I mean, oh, God. I don't know where to start. I don't know. Let's just start at the bottom. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. The twerk champion. Apparently broke a record on the training ground for sprinting over 40 metres. Mr. Jakub Kiwior, the left-footed Polish Rob Holding. His wife's more famous than him. She's the twerk champion of the world, apparently. Kiwior's playing football like he's twerking at the moment, to be honest. In fact, she might be better on the pitch than him. In all fairness to him, he's not a left-back, so playing a centre-back at left-back, what do you expect? Guess what? You're copying Pep's homework. Pep signed a centre-back who's left-footed, who plays at left-back. So he did the same thing. He's copying Pep's homework. But you copied it wrong, and it ain't working. This guy yesterday, wow. Cooked. Cordova Reed cooked him. Absolutely ruined him. Dragged him at half-time. Jakob Jenkinson, I mean, I actually feel a bit sorry for him. £25 million for Jakub Kiwior to play him out of position. You've got to lay some of this blame at the manager. I actually feel a bit bad that I am cooking Kiwior like this. He would argue and say, I'm a centre-back. What the hell am I doing at left-back against fast wingers? I don't... First goal, he was completely out of position. He can't run. He's terrible. Get rid of him, in my opinion. Loan him. Loan him. He's young. Maybe he's not quite ready for the Prem. Get him out on loan. Give him 30 games somewhere else. He is not the level of Arsenal. Honestly, he's not the level. Remember his debut? He ducked down away at Sporting Lisbon. He came on at Liverpool, started fly-kicking people. Yesterday, he looked like he didn't know what world he was in. It was artificial intelligence at left-back. I didn't know if that was real or fake. Terrible, terrible signing. Talent ID of Arteta once again, absolutely in the mud. And yet Kieran Tierney's on loan at Real Sociedad, who's played in the Champions League, who won his group, by the way, with Real Sociedad. Kiwior gets... I give him 1 out of 10 for turning up. You got on the coach and you got there. That's all I can praise you for. But Arteta's got to take a lot of the blame. He is not good enough. Ben White at right back. Benjamin White. He said, call me Benjamin because that's my name. I'm calling you Ben. Not Ben 10, Ben Tan. Because all he is right now is a suntan and tattoos running around the pitch. He should be in IB for selling tickets for Ocean Beach. That's what he should be doing shots of Sambuca. He once said he doesn't watch football. Right now, it looks like he doesn't play football. That's what I would say about Ben White. And but the problem is, oh yeah, drop him. Who you drop him for? Cedric the Entertainer. The replacement is no better. This guy has fallen off a cliff. Last season, he was one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. This season, he looks completely like he does not have a clue. He doesn't look like he even wants to be on the pitch. To me, Ben White is the epitome of a player believing his own hype. You've had one good season, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm on massive money. I'm a multi-millionaire. I'm in the England squad, although he's not in the England squad now. And I'm some sort of superstar. No, you ain't a superstar, bro. You had one good season. I remember Michael Ricketts banging goals in back in the day for Bolton, getting in the England squad. He disappeared within 12 months. Nobody knew who he was anymore. You wouldn't recognise him in the street. Ben White's got to stop believing his own hype, bruv. You had one good season. You're moaning about the England squad. You shouldn't be anywhere near the England squad. Which right back are you better than? You ain't better than Trent. You ain't better than Reece James. You ain't better than Kyle Walker. You probably ain't better than Kieran Trippier. Needs to stop believing his hype. Can't blame him for either one of the goals. Wasn't his fault, but Willian was balling against him. So I give him 2.5. I give him 2.5. He was awful, and he's been awful. Turkish, I see you in the chat, bro. I'll be on for over an hour. I'll shout you to... Well, let me get through what I need to. If you want to jump, we can sort something. Big up Turkish in the chat. I'm sure you're all subscribed to him. And we'll have a chat towards the end. Definitely, bro. I'll message you. So, what? 2.5 for Ben White. 2.5. But at the moment, I don't know what the hell's going on, but he's shocking at the moment. Let's get into the two centre-backs. Wow. Oh, my God. They should breathalyze Gabriel for that performance yesterday. Because my only thought process is that Gabriel Magalhaes must have been absolutely steaming yesterday. He couldn't pass wind. Honestly. You know when you have a baby and they drink milk, you pat them on the back to make them burp. This guy wouldn't burp. I don't know what the hell that performance was from Gabriel yesterday. He gives the ball away time after time after time. And then he decides to slice the cross straight into Tomiyasu's chest, and they score the winning goal. He was horrific yesterday. That is possibly the worst performance I have ever seen from Gabriel Magalhaes. The worst. Absolutely horrendous. It was like watching Mustafi. I don't know what was going on. He must have been potty in the night before. Horrific. Absolutely comical. He cost us the second goal. As much as I thought Ben White was absolutely dreadful, he didn't actually cost us any of the goals. That is the worst Gabriel Magalhaes performance I've ever seen. I'll give him 2 out of 10. How can you not clear a ball that's bouncing? Just volley it. He did the same thing in America against Manchester United. Long ball, and he just missed the ball. And they scored. But I was like, it's pre-season, not the end of the world. Gabriel yesterday was horrific. Gustafi, they're calling him. Honestly, I don't know what he was doing. Absolutely crazy. Rice and Gabriel arguing. Martinelli furious on the bench after being subbed. Not dapping up ESR. It's not all as rose. I told you. The wheels are coming off, people. The wheels are coming off. They're slowly falling off. William Saliba. Not good enough yesterday. Not good enough. I think you're an outstanding player. You can be one of the best centre-backs in world football. You were poor yesterday. You nearly gave away a penalty. You nearly got a red card. Listen, it doesn't help when you've got a right back that don't want to be there. You got a left back that can't play there. You got a goalkeeper that doesn't talk much, who's 6 foot, very small. When you've got a car and 1 or 2 of the tyres, the tread's going down a little bit, you know. They say put that 20 pence piece and see how good the tread is. When the tyres are starting to wear down, then the good tyres start to lose their grip as well. Right now, we got 4 tyres in the back 4. The 2 fullbacks, they're bold right now, them tyres. There's no grip. Now, the 2 good tyres are starting to skid round corners right now. That's what's going on. I'm telling you, we got a problem. Saliba was poor yesterday. Poor. He didn't cost us a goal, but he just didn't look assured. His passing wasn't as good. Could have given away a penalty. I'll give Saliba a 4. And he got booked as well. I could have given him less than that, to be honest. I was tempted to give him a 3. Trust me, the tyres are a mess right now. We need all sorts going on. We need a new engine. We got no grip. We're flying round the corner. It's like the Flintstones right now, people. We're running. We ain't even got no tyres. I'm telling you, we could have done with Barney Rubbles and Fred Flintstone in our attack yesterday. We'd have got a little bit more than the guys we're going to talk about in a minute. Let's go into the midfield. What midfield, you ask? Well, I am going to say one thing. Declan Rice didn't play well. He's had his worst week in an Arsenal shirt. There's no doubt about it. I give him a little bit of sympathy because I never question his commitment. And he's carrying... He's babysitting right now. He's like an overpaid babysitter for the 2 babies that are in front of him that we're going to discuss. Declan Rice pudding, they was calling him yesterday. The rice has well and truly been overcooked this week. poor yesterday. I think he's not progressive enough. He's dropping into centre-back. Is that because he's babysitting the back four? Going forward, didn't do enough. I don't want to hammer Declan Rice. I thought he was worse against West Ham. But I didn't see him do anything. I'm right. I'm giving him 4.5. I'm giving him 4.5 for yesterday. But he's genuinely one of the only players on that pitch I feel sorry for, because I honestly think Declan Rice is in a harder position and role than he was at West Ham. I think his job's harder at Arsenal, yet he came to a club that's far better. He was like Couscous yesterday. It's like half the version of Rice, isn't it? Declan Couscous, we're calling him yesterday. He was half the player. But he's babysitting these two we're going to talk about in front of him. At West Ham, he played next to Souček. He had Paqueta in front of him. Win the ball back, pass it and keep it. At Arsenal, you're a lone six, mate. You're doing marathons on the pitch. He must be saying, yo, this ain't what I signed up for. I thought Thomas Partey was going to be here, and I thought, the guy's getting no help. If he gets injured, wow. The midfield is a complete write-off. Cat D car straight into the wall. Tax insurance write-off. Rice Krispies, they're calling him. Snap, crackle, and certainly no pop with these two in front of him. Let's talk about the two in front of him. I mean, where do I start? I'll start with the captain. I'm gonna... I was thinking about this earlier. I think Martin Odegaard is potentially... He's up there as one of the worst captains I've ever seen at Arsenal. I'm being totally honest. One of the worst captains I've ever seen. Probably the worst was William Gallas, the crybaby. Apparently, somebody was saying yesterday in the chat that he wiped snot in his hair, which I can't. Apparently, he blew his nose in his hand and then started flicking his hair with the same hand. So, it's not a very good performance from Odegaard. I couldn't help it. It was there, you know. It's 2024. I had to do it. But he's up there as one of the worst captains I've ever seen, in my opinion. That's not disrespecting the player. I'm talking about the captain. I'm talking about the skipper, the leader. If I'm a young player, Gabriel Martinelli, 21 years of age, I don't want to see, number one, my captain getting pushed around and bullied like the year 7 losing his lunch money to the year 11s. In his first day at school, he got to go hungry. But second of all, I don't want to see my captain putting snot in his hair before he takes a free kick. And then he doesn't even score the free kick. I would put up with the snot in the hair if he bent that free kick in the top corner. I'll say, you know what? Maybe that's just his thing. It ain't really what... I don't agree with that. It's not what I do, but... Yeah, all right, I'll stop. It's 2024. But then he puts it over the top of the goal. One of the worst captains I've ever seen at this football club. I think Arteta was a better captain than him, genuinely. Leader, mature, used to speak. Not a very good player, but... Koscielny, Mertesacker, Fabregas, Henry. Not great leaders, but come on. Absolutely horrendous. Horrendous from this guy yesterday. Running around doing nothing, getting pushed to the floor. Paulinho bullied our midfield yesterday. 2 out of 10. And I won't do any more snot jokes, I promise you. I'll leave it there. It's not funny at this point. Anyway, let's move on to Kai Havertz. I'm kind of in shock at this guy. I got caught up in this guy. Few tap-ins. A PR player of the month. I started falling for it. Actually, he's not that bad. He makes great runs. He invades space. This guy, right? Because we're here to talk the truth. Only the truth will set you free. This guy, for me, is one of the worst signings we have ever made at this football club when you consider the price. I'm sorry. Kevin Campbell came on here and said he's been normal. He ran his hand across the screen. He said, you know, normal. There's nothing normal about what I'm watching from this guy. It's abnormal. It's abnormal, people. what this guy is producing. Oh, but he makes good runs. So what? I've seen greyhounds make good runs at the dog track, Walthamstow. This guy is a complete myth. Chelsea must have been on their back with laughter when they got that phone call from Edu. Hi. Oh, it's Edu. Hi, well, you want one of our players? Who do you want? One of the better ones? Reece James? I know he's a bit injury prone. Or who do you want? One of the good ones? No, we want Havertz. What? Kai Havertz? You want him? Yeah, we like him. You do realise he's been at Chelsea for 3 years. You know, don't watch the Leverkusen. He's been at Chelsea for 3 years. Yeah, okay. Well, how much do you want to give us for him? We'll give you... You can have him 15 million, 20 million. No, we'll give you 65. What? What? 65 million pounds? English. Not Jamaican dollars, East Caribbean. No, English pounds. Good exchange rate. In the bank, cash, crypto, anything. We'll take anything. Monopoly money. Yep, we'll put it straight in there now. I said, boy, there should be police, FBI, Secret Service, lawyers, solicitors outside of the Arsenal training ground, bussing through the door with paperwork and handcuffs. How has Havertz been able to sign for Arsenal for £65 million? I went on Sportrack this morning because they're probably the most accurate website for football wagers. Sometimes they're not accurate, but they're the best. Kai Havertz is the highest paid player at Arsenal Football Club. He's the highest. Number one, top dog. Top earner. Straight through the door. Top. £280,000 a week. Now, I know they say, oh, you know, you shouldn't worry about the money. No, we do worry about the money because we know that that money means it will affect someone else coming into the football. He is one of the worst players at the club and he's the top earner. He's on a 5-year contract. Are you telling me that deal should not be investigated? We signed an out-of-form player from one of our so-called rivals for 65 million and gave him 280 grand a week. 280 for Kai Havertz. 5 years. I'm telling you now, categorically, Mikel has broken part of the dressing room this season. I'm telling you. I'm saying it. You drop Ramsdale when he was very popular. Some of them players don't like it. You bring in Havertz. Players aren't stupid. They watch football. They've played against him. If I'm Saliba, if I'm Saka, and those guys, I'm going, how the hell has this guy come into our football club and he's earning more than me? What's he done? Okay, Champions League goal. Great. But everyone knows that that's a one-off. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. The man's a bum. We should have never signed him. We got Chelsea fans in the comments, no refunds. I wish we'd used that 28-day money-back guarantee. It was just sold as seen, wasn't it? And I'm telling you, the dressing room the cracks will start to appear in that dressing room. They're not stupid players. How is this guy the top earner? By the way, his rating yesterday, he gets a 0. Do you know why he gets a 0? Because I didn't know he was on the pitch. I didn't think he played yesterday. I can't rate something that I didn't see. I didn't think he was even playing yesterday. He did nothing. Somebody messaged me at half-time and said, oh, Havertz makes good runs. I said, what? How about getting on the ball and making something happen? We might as well have Usain Bolt in attacking midfield. He is awful. Get him out of the football club. But guess what? He ain't going nowhere. Do you know why? Because no one is going to be stupid enough to give him that contract that we've just given him. Unless the Saudis will take him. But he probably wouldn't want to go to Saudi at this point in his career. He is horrendous. One of the worst signings I've ever seen at this football club. I'm sorry. He's terrible. Yeah, shamelessly, he scored a winning goal and he might have got a green screen on this channel. You know me, people. I'm shameless with it. He is dreadful. Let's get into this front three. Oh, dear me. Where do I start? Martinelli started the game quite bright, had a shot, led to the goal. Cool, a little bit better, but he played against Timothy Castagna yesterday. Arsenal were linked with him last year. I said I didn't want him. I compared him to a lasagna. I said it's just a bit of a mess. You don't really want him at right back. And he made Castagna look like a pretty good right back yesterday. I'm massively concerned about Martinelli. I actually thought he started the game quite lively. But it's not happening for him. He looked very, very angry when he came off. Very angry. I think he thought, because the one thing I would say, you could argue Martinelli was the best of the front three, if I'm being honest. I think he was better than the other two. I think he thought, well, why are you taking me off when them two are stinking out the place? I give him 4.5. Outside of the shot that led to the goal, what did he really do? He tried. He definitely tried. But as I said, you never hear me really praising players for trying. You're on 180 grand a week. You should try. You know what I mean? I thought he was a little bit better despite the low rating. But it's still not enough. Still not enough. He needs more. Castagna looked decent at right back against him. Let's go to the other side. Bukayo Saka. Listen, he scored. He did nothing else. I actually think even though Saka scored, he was worse than Martinelli in a way. Did you see the volley that came to him? 7-8 yards out, unmarked. I'm like, right, here we go. Saka, Bukayo. I got to go full screen. Ball comes to him, out the air. Bukayo on his left foot. Leno in goal. The script is written. Volley it past our former goalkeeper. Equaliser. He side foots it into the River Thames and knocks out a duck that was eating some bread in the River Thames. Knocks it out, unconscious. RSPCA everywhere. Saka goes blonde. And he's playing now like the blonde Rashford that can't hit a barn door. What the hell is going on with this guy, Saka, at the moment? People were telling me outside of Salah, he's the best right winger in the world. He's world class, they said. Where is it? World class? Have you seen Rodrigo at Real Madrid? Cole Palmer's playing better than this guy. By far, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I don't forget what Saka's done for the football club. You know, the overdraft is large. You've got credit in the bank still. But bro, I don't know what's... You must be using Ben White's hair dye. I'm telling you, it's rubbed off on you. You seen Ben White with that blonde. You said, Ben, can you borrow me some of that hair dye? I think I'm going to go blonde for Christmas. You, mate, I don't know what the hell... This is Sakaka at the moment. It's not Saka. It's Sakaka. 4 out of 10. He gets a 4 because of the goal. Honestly, if he hadn't scored, he'd be getting 2s and 2.5s. He was awful yesterday. He made Anthony Robinson look like Roberto Carlos yesterday. Honestly, shocking. Absolutely terrible. Somebody said Saka plays better for England. Yeah, good right back behind him. We're going to talk about Arteta. Don't you worry about him. You think Arteta's getting out of this show scot-free? We got loads to say about that guy. Don't you worry. And let's finish off the starting 11. In the only way we could. I've got to gather my thoughts before I even get into this. I've seen Nicholas Bentner. I've seen Park Chu-young. I've seen Marouane Chamakh. Francis Jeffers. Remember him? Franny Jeffers. We've seen them all, people. Joel Campbell. He's up there. He's up there potentially as the worst. He's up there. Chuba Akpong. This guy. They said your defence is in trouble when Eddie's in the room. What defence? Our own defence is in trouble? Is that what they meant? Because he's going to lose the ball and then they're going to hit us on the counter-attack. Growing up, one of my favourite actors, Eddie Murphy. Loved him. I had the whole box set. Coming to America, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2 and 3, 48 Hours, another 48 Hours, Raw, Delirious, Nutty Professor, you name it, I was watching it. I would rather have Nutty Professor up front, Sherman Klump, or even Buddy Love. Put one of them up front, they're going to do more than what this guy did yesterday. You might as well put Nutty Professor up front. At least he's a target man. He'll probably hold the ball up. You know, make it... What's the point of this guy being on the football pitch? I need answers. I need answers. And the manager, they're putting out reports saying the manager is refusing to sell him. He's refusing to sell him because he thinks he's an important part of the squad. The P45 should be in the drafts, written up and ready to print. What he needs to explain to us what he sees in this striker, because nobody else can see it. Nobody knows what this guy is doing up front for Arsenal Football Club. Take that 14 off his back and retire it. I said it before. People go, oh, the number doesn't mean nothing. It does mean something. I tell you now it means something. You knew as a kid, yo, can I wear 14? Oh, why do you want 14? It's Thierry, man. You know what I mean? You might pull your socks over your knees. Thierry. Man United fans, yo, can I wear that 7? It's Ronaldo. You can't tell me that football's changed that much. The numbers still mean something. The boots you wear, the way you wear your socks. That's what football's all about. You can't remove fundamental. It doesn't mean nothing. 14 at Arsenal is iconic. Take the 14 off his back, sell him to Crystal Palace and wipe it out of your mind and pretend it never happened, just like Willian's disaster class. If he goes to Palace, goes to Brentford, goes to Bournemouth and bangs a few goals in, fair play to him. We can't knock the hustle. This guy is absolutely dreadful. He must have dirt on Mikel Arteta because I don't know how he still plays for this football club. Get him out. He gets minus 14 for wearing that 14 on his back. He should have been sold the second the transfer window opened at midnight. He should be at Crystal Palace's training ground doing his medical as we speak. But guess what? He'll probably start on Sunday against Liverpool, against Virgil van Dijk. And we'll be right back here again, people. So here's what it... You know, Turkish. Come on, man. You know. You know, bro, like them numbers, man. Number 8 was right. You knew Bergkamp 10. It was serious. These lot don't respect the fundamentals. They don't respect it. We're going to start the show 2024, 100%. There's a 2-week winter break coming up, I believe, next week. That's the perfect time. We'll get the show title. We've got to get it going. Big up Turkish. The subs, I mean, is there any point? Is there any point even talking about the subs? I can't even remember what 3 players came on. Let me just scroll down. Who came on? Tomiyasu came on. Let me scroll down here. I can't even remember who else came on. Nelson came on. I can't even remember Nelson doing anything. There's no point me even rating any of them. I seen Jesus tackling people at right back. Tomiyasu was trying to invert. Trossard still looked drunk. By the way, how slow is Trossard? And Nelson just runs around like a headless chicken. That bench, this Kyle Smith-Rowe done. I need answers on that one. Because he's wearing that number 10 shirt. He got that new contract. He was in the England squad. What has he done wrong? Why is he not coming on this football pitch? This is a guy that scored 10 league goals 2 years ago. We're in desperate need of a goal. And you ain't bringing Smith-Rowe on. What's he done? What's he at the football club for? For the English quota. That's the only reason he should be. It looks like he's at the club. The manager can't stand him. Just get it off the screen. As for the ratings for the manager, oh God, big fat 0 for him. Tactically outdone by Fulham and Silva at Fulham, who lost 3-0 to Bournemouth a week ago and 2-0 to Burnley the week before. Plays Arsenal 1-0 down, no reason to panic. And let's get one thing straight yesterday. They were trying to score. I seen Jimenez trying to do a Rabona at the end of the game. They had no respect for us. Iwobi's hitting the griddy. It was wild. It was out of control. Arteta gets a 0, and we're going to talk about this manager in serious, serious depth because he should not be getting away with this anymore. As I said, people, other channels are available. In my humble opinion, this manager's hit the ceiling. It's over for him. He ain't going no higher. But we're going to talk about it why. Let me go through these super chats. Big up Fitz. Arteta has changed the great offensive play from last season to slow and ponderous. The players lacked hunger, desire, and looked like they didn't care. It's obvious that Arteta does not have what it takes. 100. I'm with you on that, Fitz. I am. And I've been in dressing rooms. When you lose belief in the manager and what he's doing, players start to switch off. It's like being in an office and you don't like the manager. When they talk, you just go onto autopilot. You nod your head. Randy Viper, Saka is overrated. Arsenal bottled it because of Saka last season. He will be the same as Leno. Everyone overhyped him, you will all realise. Big up for the super chat, bro. I just think it's too easy to blame one player. And Saka, in all fairness, has done a heck of a lot for this team in the last 2 or 3 years. I think before we start blaming Saka, I think you've got to look at a number of other players with more experience than him. Of course, he's in a bad run of form, but at least he's chipping away with numbers. Big up Unknown Seer. Appreciate that, bro. He's gifted 5 Curtis Shaw TV memberships to the community. Welcome to the 5 new members as well. Appreciate that, bro. Brio said, this signing definitely messed up our FFP. Yeah. We smashed our books all over the place to get Havertz. Huge wages. Remember what Arsenal said? We've cleared all the big wages. 350 grand Ozil, 350 grand Aubameyang, 200 grand Mkhitaryan. And all you've done is thrown one of them on Havertz. So you've wasted it. You might as well have kept Aubameyang. He's still better than Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah even now. Peter Green, thank you for the super sticker, bro. Sir Fatty said, all hail the king of Zamunda, 44 goals in 176 games. Terminate his contract. And most of them were in the Carabao Cup. And Andy said, Arsenal, get Joe Linton for left centre mid. He has a year left, sell ESR. Joe Linton's actually a tank in midfield, I can't lie. Maybe we should play Jesus in midfield. Because, as he said in the interview, scoring goals is not his strength. That's not what he does best. And don't we know it? Don't we know it, people? Let's talk about the manager. Let's talk about the manager, people. I dropped the grenade on Twitter. You knew it was coming. It had to get dropped. Cut a long story short, I said, the manager's done. Get a world-class manager. He's a Spanish Brendan Rodgers. He created exciting football last season, just like Brendan did at Liverpool. Created an entertaining team, nearly won the league, just like Brendan did at Liverpool. But sometimes, when the expectation comes with it, that's when you see what a manager's... Sometimes you can perform when there isn't pressure and spotlight on you. Sometimes it's more difficult when people expect you to do well, and that's what I think Arteta's falling into now. Last year we were going, listen, if we get top 4, we've had a good season. All of a sudden we was in a title race. We're going, wow, he's over-exceeding expectation. This year we said, we expect you to be in the title race. We expect you to win trophies. And I don't think he can live with that pressure. And that's what you're seeing. My first question to everybody in the chat, whether you're a big fan of Arteta or not, that's cool. We all want the best for our own football club. My question is, why did it was so evidently working last season? Why did you change that? I think what Arteta has done, he saw that capitulation at the end of the season. He saw the title disappear and he thinks, I've got to change something, the dynamics of this club. I need us to be more solid defensively. So he's taken something out of the attack to put it in the defence. I don't believe he needed to do that. I actually don't think the system was the problem last year. The reason the club lost the title was the personnel we ended the season with on the pitch started falling. Saliba came out, Holding came in. The defence was finished at that point. You can't win a title with Rob Holding in your back four. When you've got one weak link, it leads to other problems. One bad tyre means the other tyres that are good, they don't grip as well. Rob Holding was that bad tyre. Then Partey starts playing bad. Zinchenko's form dips. Ramsdale's making mistakes. Gabriel Jesus got injured. And it led from one thing to another. I don't think he needed to change the system and philosophy. All he needed to do was, let me make sure I've got more squad depth so that if Saliba gets injured, I'm bringing in a competent quality centre-back. Not Rob Holding, not Jakob Kivior, a solid defender. Look at how Lewis Dunk performed against Arsenal the other week. I'm not saying he's the answer because he's 31, 32, but get sufficient squad depth. When City take out Stones, Akanji comes in, Nathan Ake comes in. Quality squad depth. That's what he needed. Xhaka, okay, 31, you want to replace him, you bring in Rice, but you knew Thomas Partey was injury prone. You should have signed another midfielder. You don't give Mohamed El Neni a sympathy contract because he's been at the club for a long time and you was in the team when he was there. You should have got rid of Mohamed El Neni. Also, we could all see, even from last season, that Gabriel Jesus is not the answer. I like Gabriel Jesus. I think he's a good player. You're not winning a title with Gabriel Jesus leading the line. The only way you can win a title with him, if you've got two wingers that get strikers' numbers. If you've got Salah and you've got Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. or somebody that's going to get you 20 goals off either wing. We haven't got that with Saka and Martinelli. So you can't think Jesus going to win you the title. And also on top of that, you sign Kai Havertz. Big up Wax. Make sure you go and follow Wax. Wax online. Big up yourself, bro. You sign Kai Havertz. This guy's talent ID is shocking. Now, don't get me wrong. At times, he gets it right. Declan Rice. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that Declan Rice is a good player. He never signed Saliba. He signed Gabriel. Let me give him some credit. Zinchenko, he signed. Gabriel Jesus. But look, he wasted 65 million on Havertz. 280 grand a week, 5-year deal. One of the worst signings I've ever seen. You spent 35 million on Fabio Vieira, who actually looked a good player in Portugal. I don't actually think he's a terrible player. He's just not made for the Premier League, for a physical, rough battle. He's not the answer. So there's 100 million down the drain. You sign Kivior for 25 million. Awful player. Not ready for the Prem. That's 125. Don't even get me started on Sambi Lokonga, who they said was the new Yaya Toure, and Nuno Tavares, and Pablo Mari, and Cedric, who got released by Southampton and got a 4-year deal on 75 grand a week. Alex Renarson, the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen. The talent ID is in the mud. Matt Turner, Austin Trusty, PR signings. The talent ID is horrific. If I was the Kroenkes, I don't think I'd even trust him with more money to say there's another 200. Are you going to go again with another 200 million? At what point do we hold the manager accountable and say, you might be the problem? Because we always say, oh, that player's not good enough. People saying, oh, Saka, Martinelli. These guys are playing in this manager's system. And this system, this season, is failing. It's absolutely failing us. And if one player's out of form, two players, you can point at the players. If 7 players are out of form, it's the manager's fault. Trust me on that. They haven't all just fallen off a cliff. Ben White, Zinchenko last season were outstanding. This season, they're awful, right? You look at Odegaard, one of the best creative midfielders in Europe last year. So inconsistent now. Saka and Martinelli out of form. Jesus looks even worse than last season. Trossard looks terrible coming off the bench. Smith Rowe can't get a kick. You still got Cedric, El Neni, and Nketiah. Players like that on the bench. Jorginho. What is going on? I thought he fixed the squad in the summer, people were saying. He didn't fix the squad. He's made it worse, in my opinion. The balance is all over the place. And now you saw yesterday the first signs that the wheels are falling off. Players arguing with each other on the pitch, blaming each other for mistakes. Let's bring up some facts. Facts don't care about opinions, right? Arsenal, after 20 games last season. We've played 20 games now. This is 20 games last season. Top of the league, 5 points clear of Manchester City, 50 points. We scored 47 and conceded 17. Remember those numbers. Scored 47, conceded 17, and was on 50 points. Top of the league, 5 points clear. 47 goals, 17 conceded, 50 points. Let's have a look at this season. Remember those stats. 47 scored, 17 conceded, 50 points. This season, 4th in the league. We were top. We are 10 points worse than last season. Goals scored, 10 goals less than the point we were at last season. Remember the defence that everyone, but we're controlling games. Our defence looks so much better than last season. This is what people are telling me. But we're so much better defensively, the solid unit. We've conceded 3 more goals than last season at this same stage. So we've got 10 less points. We've conceded 3 more goals. And we've scored 10 less goals. This team is worse than last season and getting worse as well, by the way. We haven't beaten any of the top 10 teams in the Premier League away from home this season in the league. None of them. Went to West Ham, got beat in the Cup. Went to Newcastle, got beat. Went to Villa, got beat. Went to Liverpool, drew. We still got to go City, still got to go Tottenham, still got to go West Ham, still got to go Man United, still got to go Brighton. We haven't even played the majority of the biggest teams yet away from home. Last season we went to Tottenham, battered them away from home. Went to Fulham last year, absolutely annihilated them away from home. We've lost 2 more games. How can you spend over £200 million and get worse? What's the explanation for that? How are we not... We're not as good going forward, and we're not actually even as good defensively. But people say we're controlling games, we're better defensively. We're not. We're not better defensively. We're actually, as centre-backs are having to fight a battle every week because the 2 full-backs have fallen apart and look like they can't defend. And the squad depth ain't even there. We're trying to manage Champions League. People were hyping up the transfer window, like you said. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. He addressed everything. No, he didn't, mate. He spent nearly all our money on Declan Rice. That was half the budget on him. Rice has been good. I don't want to go for Declan Rice. I didn't think he was worth 105 million. I said that at the time, but he has been good for us. And you wasted 65 million on Kai Havertz, and you spent 27 million pounds on a goalkeeper that we didn't really need. If you were going to buy a goalkeeper, go and buy me one of the best keepers in the world. And then you bought Timber. Timber was unlucky because I actually think Timber was a good sign. So we're 10 points worse off than last season. And now, a week ago, we're going top of the league. If we win, we can win the league. Now I'm looking over my shoulder. Tottenham are a point behind us on the same games, and they're 5th. So all of a sudden, we're going Liverpool, top of the league, game in hand, Jurgen Klopp, lot of energy. They're in Europa League, so Europe's not really ripping them apart. Do we overcome Jurgen Klopp, who's been there, done that? Then you've got Aston Villa, who, I'll be honest, I've sat there for most of the season saying, they'll fall off. They ain't got the squad. They can't. They're still there. Unai Emery, the manager that we got rid of, that we took the mick out of, good evening and all that, goes to a relegation battle in Aston Villa, and within 18 months, they're joint top on points in the Premier League going into the new year. And I tell you something, he spent nowhere near what Arteta spent at Arsenal. So it proves it's not all about 4 years, phase 1027, trust the process, part 4, a dog called win even though we don't win, PR merchants all over social media. You don't need all that. You need a good, solid manager that gets the team playing the right way, makes a couple shrewd buys, and guess what? Good things can happen. Man City aren't even out of second gear, and they're level with us, and they got a game in hand, and Kevin De Bruyne's back, and he's been out all season. He's probably the best player in the league when he's fit and in form. And now you got Tottenham, who we were laughing at, Ange, Highline, and I was laughing at them, Nando's FC. Maddison's out, blah, blah, blah. They're a point behind us. And they was in a crisis 2 weeks ago, and they're 1 point behind us. So this does not look rosy in the garden, people. It does not look rosy in the garden, I'm afraid. And I just don't see this manager. Listen, I'm being realistic here. They're not sacking him now. There's no way on earth the Kroenkes sack him now because they're not built like that. And I've said my thoughts before. I don't believe the Kroenkes are the right managers. But at the end of this season, his job should be, if he doesn't win something major, he should be out of this football club. 4.5 years. Yeah, thank you. You picked us up when we was in a bit of a mess. You've put us in a position to compete, but you are not able to get over that finish line because you are inexperienced. You've never been in management. and you're doing your apprenticeship at Arsenal, but we can't afford you to do your apprenticeship at Arsenal Football Club. You should have done that at Everton or Rangers. You know, you played for Everton and Rangers. You should have done it there. This is Arsenal Football Club. The stakes are too high. We can't afford you to make stupid mistakes like keeping Eddie Nketiah and giving him a new contract and playing him because he trains well. Oh, he trains really well. So you want to keep him. There's schoolboy errors that you're making. I'm going to put the story on it. Look, Arsenal do not want to sell Eddie Nketiah in January, despite fresh, which means Palace are back at the table, saying we'll take him again. Fresh interest from Crystal Palace. He is seen as a key member of Mikel Arteta's squad. That alone, for me, is a sackable offence. You're holding us back. That's sackable by itself. You're justifying a player that is nowhere near good enough to play for Arsenal. We played Fulham yesterday, who could be in a relegation battle. Raul Jimenez was brilliant for them yesterday. Eddie Nketiah doesn't get in their team. He doesn't get in the Fulham team. He's not better than Jimenez. He can't perform like Jimenez performed yesterday against Saliba and Gabriel. He can't do that in a million years. Arteta's out here telling the press, key member of the squad, mate, not selling him. So by you not selling him, you're stopping us from buying another striker because we need to sell him to balance the books. But you're not going to sell him. So you're going to stop us buying Ivan Toney. You're going to stop us going for Osimhen. We probably can't afford it anyway because of FFP. But you ain't even going to allow us the possibility of it happening because you're keeping this guy at the football club. I know I laugh and joke about this guy and crack jokes. That's a coping mechanism. I think this guy's awful. I don't know how he plays for Arsenal. And he's getting in the way of somebody better coming in. Stories like this are horrific. Managerial mistakes, inexperience. You think Pep would keep Eddie Nketiah? Would Klopp keep Eddie Nketiah? He'd have been out the door a long time ago. But no, 3-4 years left on his deal. He'll still be here till the end of the season because he runs around the training ground. Probably picks up the cones, fills up the water bottle. You want a coffee from the shop, boss? Oh, what do you want? Latte, extra sugar? Yeah, go on, give him a new contract. He's a great lad. Come on. Get this guy out of the football club and let's start moving like a proper club. You ain't winning nothing with Eddie Nketiah up front. It's ridiculous. 25, like you said, they're treating him like he just come out the youth team. If he was 17, 18, just scored 30 in the under-19s or something, all right, cool, give him a chance. He just came through, maybe this... The brother's 25. He should have 100 goals. Like, he's rubbish. Get him where he rightly belongs. I was going to say send him to Bournemouth. He's playing for Bournemouth. I actually don't know what Premier League club he starts for, to be honest. If I really look down that list. I mean, probably one of the bottom three. Fourth from bottom is Everton. Calvert-Lewin, he doesn't start. Brentford, Ivan Toney doesn't start. 15th, Nottingham Forest. Taiwo Iwanyi, he doesn't start ahead of him. 14th, Palace aren't great. I don't know if he's better than Odsonne Edouard. I honestly don't. You could maybe have a discussion. Fulham, he can't do what Jimenez did yesterday. Bournemouth, Solanke, no chance. Wolves, Hwang, I think, has been playing up front. He's nowhere near as good as him. Chelsea, Nicholas Jackson, I don't rate him, but he's better than him. And obviously, every team in the top 10's got a better striker than him. Newcastle, he wouldn't even get on the bench. They've got Isaac and Wilson. Brighton, he's not better than Ferguson. He's not better than Danny Welbeck. He doesn't get in any team outside of the top three. Palace is the only one you could have a discussion. Yet he's starting for Arsenal. Can't wait for him to. Can't wait for Arsenal to get Real Madrid in the Champions League, and Eddie's starting at the Nou Camp at the Bernabeu. Let's see how that goes. To be honest, when we got Porto, I celebrated. The way we're playing right now, I'm scared of them. I'm scared of Porto right now. Because if Fulham can do that to us, what can Porto do to us? In a warm night in Portugal in March, with all that heritage in the Champions League. I'm scared of Porto. I'm telling you now. But anyway, let's move on from that. Let me get a bit of transfer news in. Then I'll shout Turkish. He's in the comments. If you're still about, bro, I will send you the link. I just got to get all this off my chest. There's a lot to get into. And let us know, are you doing Big Six tonight as well? Somebody put it in the comments. I'm assuming you are. Let's talk transfers, because the transfer window is open. In fact, let's start at the breaking news of the day, actually. Let's start at the breaking news of the day. And that is about Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey has missed out on going to AFCON. He will not be going to AFCON with Ghana. They've left him out of the squad, which is good news on one hand, because obviously that means, they're saying they've left him to complete his recovery period at Arsenal. So in one sense, cool, good news. He doesn't go to AFCON. Arsenal don't play in the Premier League for a couple of weeks now. Looking at the Arsenal fixtures, we obviously play Liverpool this weekend in the FA Cup. After that, you've got the winter break, which is 2 weeks. So our next fixture in the Premier League is on the 20th of January against Crystal Palace at home. Obviously, it's the 1st of January, so it's 19 days until we play again in the Premier League. You got the FA Cup, then a 2-week winter break. Then we got Palace. Then there's another FA Cup game if we beat Liverpool. And then we got Nottingham Forest. So we've only got 2 league games in January. So you've got nearly 3 weeks until we play in the Prem. Is there a bit of time for Thomas Partey to get back and recover? He's not in the squad for Ghana. He will not be going to AFCON. Obviously, I don't want to talk about it, but, you know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around on social media, as you can imagine, with Partey and the things he's been accused of. So that's not good, obviously, but yeah, it's not good. Boss J said he's my countryman, but this Don is as reliable as a dodgy curry done with Partey. Listen, we saw last week he's training. He is training, but not training with the group. So he's about as useful as a chocolate teapot at the moment, mate. He just melts. And you can't get... I just don't know. I would like to be excited by the possibility of Partey coming back, because I still believe that an informed Partey is probably still the best centre midfielder at Arsenal. And I do include Declan Rice in that. I just don't know if Partey can perform at that level anymore, to be honest. He's a sick note now. You've got to sell him in the summer, but wouldn't it be a great bonus to Arsenal if you got a fit, informed Partey from the middle to end of January until the end of the season? It would, in the words of Arsene Wenger, be like a new signing, but I just don't see it happening. But if it does, then great. Just to give you a bit of context on what was said, Chris Hughton did an interview this morning, former Forest manager. He's obviously the Ghana manager. He was asked about being unable to call up Thomas Partey for AFCON. He said, Thomas is one of our most important players. About his injury, would certainly be in the squad. We know the quality of the player that he is. He's a player that suffered a substantial injury. I've spent a lot of this period of time with Thomas and also engaged with the medical staff at Arsenal. They will treat this injury with caution, and so will the player. This is a big injury for him, the biggest injury he's had. The most important thing for me as head coach is to give him the support he needs. From all the information we've been given, the timeline of recovery and the caution that will be taken will not meet our timelines for AFCON. Now, isn't it interesting? I understand this a little bit. It's mind games. Remember when he got injured and Arteta was saying, oh, he'll be out for weeks. Now they're saying this is the biggest injury of his career. So how big was the injury? What was the injury? They obviously never gave us the full details of what that injury was, but this must have been a big injury if he's not going to AFCON. Like you said, Gunnar Graham, I think he missed 3 games in 3 years at Atletico. It feels like he's barely played 3 games for Arsenal. He's injured that much. It's just a huge loss. Tomiyasu has been called up for the Asia Cup. Of course, he's back from injury, so we lose him, and Japan are one of the favourites to win the competition. So we are going to lose Takahiro Tomiyasu for a number of weeks. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe Thomas Partey had surgery, maybe had an operation, because it wasn't described as that big an injury. So how come he's been out for so long? But it is what it is. We shouldn't be surprised. He will continue to do his rehab at the training ground. And listen, do we get him back sometime this month? We need him. I mean, some of you saying that you don't think he is injured, but obviously I don't want to speak on things like that until we know factually what is going on. But of course, people are putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 5 because of the previous accusations and so on and so forth. So Partey doesn't go to AFCON, but how long is he going to be out for Arsenal? When do we get him back on the pitch is the question. Let's talk transfers. I said it would be a long one, people. There's 3,000 of you in the chat, 42 of you on Twitch. Big up the whole C Unit gang. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Let's make sure it's a better year for us. And as I always say, people, don't let Arsenal mash up your week or your weekend, because you know what? At times, they don't even deserve it when they put in performances like yesterday. Gid said apparently he had surgery on his groin. That would explain it. Luzma said, big up Big C. Happy New Year. Not only has Ramsdale lost his smile, the whole team has. The players may no longer be playing for the manager. I think we're starting to see the cracks. I got to be honest. Pause, by the way. But yeah, I think that argument with Declan Rice and Gabriel yesterday, the way Martinelli stormed off the pitch, I think there's issues there, man. I'm telling you, the players don't like seeing their friends mistreated. I know sometimes that sounds a little bit, but I don't think they like what happened to Ramsdale. I think they thought, you know what? This guy helped you get in the Champions League and you've binned him for a goalkeeper from Brentford who's not even better than him. So Samuel said, you too, Curtis, I'm your biggest fan. Love your videos. Every time Arsenal is playing, I watch you. Big up, bro. Big up to everyone locked in. Hit the like button. Transfer window is open. Or as Arsenal call it, Monday. Do you expect Arsenal to do big business in this window? I'm going to be honest, I don't. I don't, people. When's the last time Arsenal went crazy in a January transfer window? It was when they signed Aubameyang. And do you know why they signed Aubameyang? Because Alexis Sanchez was playing a piano, signing for Man United, and the fan base were going nuts, and they knew they had to do something. This football club, this ownership, will give this fan base what they feel they can get away with. And when they can sign Jorginho in a title race, and the fan base justify it by talking about Ballon d'Or nominations from half a decade ago. And when they sign Kivior, an unknown centre-back that most of us had never heard of, and they justify it as the backup centre-back, even though when Saliba gets injured, Rob Holding's playing because apparently Kivior's not ready, then the owners will continue to drip feed us and drop crumbs off the plate because they know they can get away with it. And guess what? Now we're in financial difficulty, financial fair play. In a January transfer window, in a title race, we can't go big in the window. You know why? Do you know why we can't go big in this window? Number one, the Kroenkes won't put their hand in their own pocket. Remember what we saw the other day and we discussed it. Owners are allowed to put £30 million in a season out of their own money for things like transfers to balance the wage bill. These owners never put that in. They can put 30 million in this window if they want. Also, a little bit of money to spend already. And then on top of that, sell some of the fringe players. But Edu, who won Sporting Director of the Year in Europe, I still don't know how, gives Aubameyang to Barcelona for nothing. High-fiving Richard Garlick in the documentary. Aubameyang scores 13 goals in 17 games for Barcelona. Barcelona sell him to Chelsea for £12 million. Plus Marcus Alonso 6 months later. We didn't get £1 for him. He's just scored 12 goals in 18 games for Marseille, by the way. Still better than Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah right now. And that's washed up Aubameyang as a goal scorer. But forget about that. Aubameyang for nothing. Ozil for nothing. Mustafi for nothing. Kolasinac for nothing. Socrates for nothing. Nothing. No money. Don't give us a penny. Aaron Ramsey for nothing when he was worth 30, 40 million pounds. Nothing. We'll let the contract run down and try and offer you a new deal. Juventus offer you 400 grand. You walk out the door for nothing. But apparently he's the best sporting director in Europe. And because he can't sell players for money, he doesn't accept cash. No cash, no card, no crypto. Just take them for free. Now we can't buy anyone in the middle of a title race. Because our sporting director can't sell players for money. But they're high-fiving each other. Well done, Rich. Hey, Richard. Amazing, amazing work, my friend. You sold a goal scorer to Barcelona for nothing. That's hard work, apparently, to give a player away. I couldn't believe when I watched that documentary. This guy, Richard Garlick, I mean, his name's stinky and his work's stinky as well. You gave Aubameyang to Barcelona, you're high-fiving each other. He scored 13 goals. He scored against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. Did the Pokemon celebrate. Not Pokemon, what was it? What's the cartoon called, man? Dragon Ball Z. But I'm supposed to believe these guys are going to do the recruitment in January that's going to win us the title. I tell you what's going to happen. As I said, it's like watching the Titanic once, then watching it again and pretending you don't know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. We're going to hit the iceberg, and then we're going to end up in cold water, swimming to save ourselves. We're going to be linked with big players. I'm going to talk about a few of them in the next few minutes. We'll be linked with Ivan Toney all month. We'll get some stories about Osimhen, probably that we're going to go for him in the summer. They'll throw a little Vlahovic in the pot, just a little bit of seasoning on top. And then they'll get, one or two others in there. Maybe Ferguson from Brighton. Maybe Boniface from Leverkusen. Chuck them all in the pot. Stir the pot. We'll all be celebrating on social media. We're signing Ivan Toney. We're getting Osimhen. We're back. In reality, we'll probably get some unknown Donny on loan until the end of the season, and we'll buy him for 20 million. If that. That's all we'll probably do. And then the title race will slowly ease away from us. We'll finish third, fourth. And they'll say he needs another transfer window. The Kroenkes need to back him in the summer. And then they'll peddle the nonsense out again. The 3 new kits will come out. There'll be more transfer stories, season ticket renewal. I'll be on tour somewhere in America or somewhere. And we'll be back to square one, watching Pep Guardiola and Kevin De Bruyne lift trophies above their head while we're arguing on social media about Saka being world class or not, when we all know he's not. And that's where we are, people. It's rinse and repeat settings. So we all know how January's going. But despite that, we are going to talk about transfer stories. Let me just get into these super chats. Michael said, why is it every team can double up and neutralise our wingers, but their wingers get 1v1s and cookers? We don't have as much control as Arteta thinks. We ain't got no control, bro. That's just a buzzword, innit? Arsenal love words. Strong words. And when you keep saying them enough, they become believable. It's like hallucination, innit? You're in the desert. Eventually you think you can see like the ocean in the distance, but actually it's your imagination playing tricks on you. So trust the process. That was the first one. Take this. Trust the process. They said, you've got to give him time. Trust the process. So I put up with 8th, 8th and 5th. Trust the process. All right, but it don't look like this process is working. Then it was we're the youngest squad. You can't criticise this team. They're young. How dare you criticise a 20-year-old Martinelli and all these babies in the nursery? You can't criticise babies in the nursery. They're still weeing in their nappies. How dare you criticise this young team? So you sit back, you go, well, they're young. Let me go easy. I ain't going to say too much. They're young. Trust the process. Youngest team. Then it was the phases. Phase this, phase that. We're only in this phase. You need more phases before we get there. Edu with his nonsense interview with Jeff Stelling. We're in this phase. And then now it's control. Oh, well, how come we can't hit a barn door anymore in our front three? Yeah, but we've got more control. Oh, have we got more control? Because we've conceded more than last season and scored less. So where's the control? We ain't got no control. We have no control, people. Did we look like we had control yesterday against Fulham? I saw Paulinho bulldozing through the Arsenal midfield yesterday. Havertz doing a disappearing act. And Odegaard wiping snot in his hair. That's what I saw. I didn't see no control. So I don't. They're just buzzwords, Pete. I told you, Arsenal are the Champions League winners of PR. We are like Real Madrid, like 10, 15 Champions Leagues when it comes to PR. We are the best. You know what I mean? We sacked the dinosaur during lockdown. Like, we can go to any level of shamelessness. When Klopp was chasing Pep, he didn't change his approach. He built on what he had and continued to raise the level. Because guess what? It's pretty hard to outdo Pep at something that he is pretty much the master of. Klopp didn't look at Pep and go, boy, you know what, man, boy, tiki-taka, you know. I'm going to get myself some tiki-taka midfielders and, you know what, let me get rid of Mane and them, man, and I'm going to get myself a Grealish. Man said, listen, the only way I'm going to beat Pep is bringing the formula that goes against what he does. High press, high work rate. They used to run all over that Man City team. Arteta's out here going, yo, Pep, don't let the teacher hear me, but what's the answer to number 4? Oh, Nathan Ake. Okay. I think he said Kivior, I'm not sure. Oh, he's got a left-footed centre-back at left-back that's having a great season. So we'll sign a left-footed centre-back and play him at left-back. Oh, but it didn't work the same way that Pep did it because he's got Edison in goal, who's unbelievable on the ball. He's got Ake at left-back, who's outstanding. It's got Ruben Diaz. It doesn't quite work the same. Oh, yeah, okay. So you've copied his homework and you've failed the exam. So you might as well have answered the question yourself. But you're just trying to be Pep, bro. It ain't working. Mr. Cool Bus Driver, change his gender, send him to the Women's League. Listen, Havertz would struggle in the WSL at the moment. I'm telling you. He'd struggle. Kerr and them, like, they're better than him right now. He'd make good runs, but he wouldn't do anything. Dr. Baron, turkey shopping on the stream. What a start to the new year. He's coming on, people. What did you... He said 10 minutes a few minutes ago, so I'm going to send him the link. Dr. Baron, big up to you. And Mohammed said, they shut our wingers down. We are clueless, puff, puff, pass, and pass again. We need to surprise the opposition, do something different. I mean, are we banned from Martinelli and Saka? You know what, lads? For 20 minutes, why don't you swap wings? How about that? How about Saka? You just play on the left, try and get down the line and do something different. Are we banned from changing and doing something different? Or do we have to play inverted left backs? Because Kivior didn't look comfortable at left back, inverting into midfield, trying to get on the ball. Yeah, we did it for the whole 45 minutes. And then you dragged him off and said, oh, you're rubbish, basically. You know? But, oh, if you're a left back, you have to invert. There's no way that we can possibly keep Kieran Tierney, who played for Celtic, won trophies, was a solid left back, played in the Champions League knockout stages, experienced, solid defender. There's no way we can keep him. Why? Because he can't invert. And Pep says the left back has to invert. There's no way we could do something different. There's no way we can have Martinelli on the left with Kieran Tierney on the overlap. All of a sudden, their right-hand side's getting pushed back and we got a good little solid unit on the left. We can't do that because Pep says the left back has to invert. So our left back has to invert. And we get cooked. Like you just said, how many times was Willian one-on-one with Ben White yesterday? How many times was Reed one-on-one with Kivior? Cooking him like a barbecue on a sunny afternoon. How often do you see Saka and Martinelli 1v1? You don't. You don't see it. You don't see it. How many times do you see Arsenal get the ball 25 yards out and just hit a shot, see what happens? You don't see it. Because guess what? They're trying to play 1-2s. Oh, have another 1-2. Odegaard gets the ball. Right, where's Saka? I got to give the ball to Saka all the time. Saka gets it. Can I cross it? No, because I can't get past these two players. I'll give it back to Ben White and we'll start again. We are the most predictable team in the Premier League at the moment. There's no element of surprise. Nothing different happens. The wingers don't swap. It's just so easy. It must be so easy to plan to play against Arsenal. Double up on Saka, double up on Martinelli, they're finished. Striker ain't going to score. He ain't even going to be in the box. And if Eddie's in the box, don't worry about him. He ain't doing nothing. Odegaard's... Remember when people were comparing Odegaard to prime Mesut Ozil? Remember that? People going, oh, you know, Odegaard might be better than Mesut. Then what? Then who? Mesut. I seen Mesut Ozil lifting World Cups. Playing for prime Real Madrid with Cristiano Ronaldo. Through ball. Mesut. Boy, you remember when I remember when I was a kid, man, when certain kids swore they had to get fairy liquid in their mouth. Wash your mouth out. How dare you swear? There's some people on social media, there needs to be some fairy liquid. People were comparing Odegaard to prime M10, you know, Real Madrid. German World Cup winner, Mesut. Odegaard has dreams about Mesut. Trust me, he ain't nowhere near them levels. That guy has bullied some of the world's best teams in that 10 role. People didn't know how to live with Mesut Ozil when he was at his best. That guy's he was up there as the best creative midfielder on the planet. Cristiano Ronaldo said it himself. This guy was 8th choice at Real Madrid. They kept Ceballos and then man over Martin Odegaard. Not as good as we think. Not in this system. Not in this system under this manager. Maybe if you do something different. Drew said, I actually think Saka's been great recently. Even in this bad patch, I think he's been one of our best players who continues to create an attack. The word great with Saka at the moment, I can't put those words together. What I will say is, despite him not being in great form, 6 goals, 6 assists, he is still contributing. You know, and in the Champions League, this season, 3 goals, 4 assists in 5 games, which is why I said earlier when I think Viper said Saka's letting the team down. Listen, Saka's been our best attacking player this season without even being in great form, but 3 goals in 5 Champions League games with 4 assists, 6 goals and 6 assists in the league. He's been by far our best attacking player without even being at the top of his game. So he's not the one that I'm coming for. I think there's bigger issues than Saka in this team, to be honest. A couple of transfer rumours, and then I'll send Turkish the link and we'll continue. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. I said this was going to be, you know, a real Arsenal therapy session to start the new year. I almost feel like apologising before I even do this, but the stories are there. Arsenal being linked heavily with 2 strikers today. Do I expect us to sign them? No. And if we are going to sign one, we'll probably sign the one that we don't actually want. Arsenal being linked with Ivan Toney and being linked with Dominic Solanke. 2 weeks ago, I said keep Solanke far away from this football club. We're so bad up front at the moment, I'd probably actually take him. I actually wouldn't take him, I got to be honest. I still don't want him at Arsenal, but he's having a good season. He's got 12 league goals already. He'll end up, I would say, with more goals than Nketiah or Jesus have ever scored in their Arsenal career. But Solanke is not the answer, man. Like, he's just not. He is having a good season. I do think he's better than Bournemouth. I definitely think Solanke could play for a top 8 Premier League club. There's no doubt. He is a boiled Arsenal fan as well, but if we're looking above us, you can't be getting Solanke to answer the question. Solanke being linked, Bournemouth want 50 million. In my opinion, stay away from that. Toney, I'm sure I'll be talking about this guy for the majority of this month, only for him to stay at Bournemouth. Stay at Brentford, sorry. Stay at Brentford. You've got 2 problems here. You've got 1 positive and you've got 2 problems. The 2 problems are, number 1, Brentford are in a mess right now. They are in a relegation battle. They've lost their last 5 Premier League games. And Buemo's out for 12 weeks and Whistler's going to AFCON. Their attack is an absolute shambles at the moment. So to get Ivan Toney out of that football club, you're going to have to put big money in their hand to allow them to go and buy other players. And I think to get him, you would have to sign him quickly. They're not going to sell him in the last week of the transfer window and then have to scramble a replacement. If you're getting Ivan Toney, you've got to sign him in the first couple of weeks. They're saying, you know, Ornstein's saying it could cost 100 million. I think you'd get him for less than that. But if the FFP stories are true, if we're refusing to sell Eddie Nketiah, I don't see where the money comes from. The Kroenkes aren't going to put the money in. Unless you sell an ESR, a Ramsdale, a Fabio Vieira, and Nketiah, I don't know where the money's coming from to go and spend. I think you'd get him for upwards of £70 million. So I don't know where the money comes from to get that deal done, especially with this ownership. I've said before, and I've said it again, I would sign Toney in this window. I know a lot of people have said wait for Osimhen until the summer, but I think waiting for Osimhen this season will fall apart. I think the season will absolutely crumble away from us. So yeah, it's great trying to get Osimhen next season, but Osimhen was tweeting the other day about Chelsea. I think some guy tweeted and said, Osimhen, come to Chelsea, and he put up the praying emoji. So Osimhen's got his eye on Chelsea. You know, Chelsea will throw the bag at him. And, you know, money talks in football, people. You know, his agent's saying he wants Champions League football, but they'll go, what are you getting, 120? Okay, we'll give you 300 grand a week. And with a massive signing-on fee, and his agent wants a massive signing-on fee. And Arsenal notoriously don't like giving agents big money. So I don't see Osimhen coming to Arsenal. I really hope he does. I really hope Tony does. I don't see Arsenal buying a striker in January. I just don't see it. One that's interesting is this boy Guirassy, who plays for Stuttgart in Germany. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about him, right? So I don't want to come on here and pretend I'm some expert on this guy. I don't know a lot about him. He's having the season of his life. 27 years of age, 17 goals in 14 games in the Bundesliga. He's got a release clause of 20 million euros. Now, as I said, I don't know much about him. It seems like a one-off. When you look throughout his career, he's never really hit those numbers. Serhou Guirassy plays for Stuttgart, 14 goals in 17 games. Last year, he scored 11 in 22. He's having the season of his life. His release clause is £17.5 million. Could you take a chance? Get him in for 17 million and then go and get your big striker in the summer. Then you get rid of Eddie Nketiah. That's the kind of thing I'd be saying to Arsenal if you want to be a little bit smarter with it. You know, could you do that? He's been linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Man United. He's a bit of an unknown quantity. He's only, 17.5 million. I don't know how good he is. I mean, Guirassy was a decent Liga striker. Nothing more, said Leo. People saying here, El Hadj said Guirassy is another Sonogo, don't sign him. So you just don't know, do you? You don't know how good he really is and what level he's at. So that's going to be interesting. I'm sure we'll be talking strikers a lot throughout this season. Gunnar G said, I'd look at him. Yes, not just agreeing. That would be so Arsenal. It's just, listen, I'm thinking if we're in a position we can't spend, a guy that's on fire for 17 million, might be all right. I've just sent Turkish the link. Don't worry. Hopefully he'll come on in the next few minutes. And the next one, when I saw this, this would be so Arsenal, wouldn't it? I've got no excitement for this, but Arsenal being linked today with Sergi Roberto from Barcelona. I mean, these are the kind of players that, 5 years ago, you'd have said, good player, good player. Right now, Sergi Roberto, 31 years of age, year left on his contract, can play centre midfield or right back. Barcelona are obviously thinking, best years are behind him. He's played 5 games this season. 23 last year, 9 the year before. Made his debut in 2014. Obviously, you saw him. He got that famous Champions League goal against PSG. He's way past his best. It would be a typical Arsenal cheapskate January signing. For me, he's not built for the Prem. In midfield, no. And at right back, I always said right back's one of the hardest positions to play in the Prem because the left backs are ferocious. Son, and all them man there, they'll rip you apart if you're not at it. Imagine Doku against him. So for me, keep him away from Arsenal, but wouldn't surprise me if you've seen him come through the door. I don't want him anywhere near the football club, I'm just saying. Right, let's get Turkish. He's in the building. Good to get him on. Let's see what he's saying. Yo, yo, yo.
Yes, bro. What are you telling me, man?
Do you know what? It's nice to see you smiling, bro, because yesterday...
Bro, what can you do, bro? You see when you said you got to have a sense of humor being an Arsenal fan, that's the realest, bro. It is what it is. I know what I'm in for tomorrow, Big Six. It's New Year. I'm with my son, so, I'm focusing on that.
Yeah.
The pain will resume tomorrow. That's how I see it.
So, I mean, how do you see what's happening at the moment? I hear you on the watch-alongs and that, but how do you feel? I'm calling out the manager. I can't lie. I've got energy towards the manager right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm on. I've been saying it on AFTV. I've been saying it on Big Six. I'm going live on my channel at 4:00. I'll say it there as well.
Yeah.
We can talk about all the individual players, and every individual player has fallen off in comparison to last season. But my thing is, when have you seen multiple players like this fall off across 3-month period? It doesn't happen. So it's the tactical tweaks that have been brought in this season that's causing the all-round, in my opinion, not downfall sounds like a fucked word, but that's the word in my head now. The comparison to last season, points down, goals scored down, goals conceded up. It doesn't read well. So right now, it's not making sense. And Talk to me about Odegaard. We can talk for 10 minutes how poor he's been this season. I link it to Arteta. Talk to me about Martinelli or Saka. We can talk 10 minutes about how poor they've been. Link it to Arteta. Jesus, Arteta. Eddie Nketiah, Arteta. Havertz, Arteta. So there's a lot of these mini debates we can have. It all goes back to like, why did you keep Eddie? Why have you made these tweaks to make us less excited and more controlling? Like earlier in the season, man said, we're not as fluid. It's a bit boring watching Arsenal now. But I said, you know what? I said, fuck my concerns. We're top of the league. So my concerns put them to the side because it seems to be working. And if we click and the second half of the season kick on, which we can still do, by the way, if there is any positivity merchants in the chat, we still can do that. I'm not saying we can't. It's just unlikely at this moment in time when you're looking at, we should have taken advantage of City's downfall this season in those 5-6 games. We needed to have taken advantage of that. We didn't. Now we find ourselves in a position where City are essentially above us in the league. Liverpool are essentially, they are above us, 2 points. It could be 5 points. It's not looking good right now. It's not looking good. And I don't know, man. I watch us now and I just think, what is going on? Like during the game, of course, I'm looking at the players and thinking, why is Odegaard shimmying his shoulders again when he should just be passing the ball? Or why is Saka Saka gets the ball now and he's looking for contact before he's even looking to do something. And I think that's the mental hurdle he needs to get over from being kicked so much, because the goal that they scored, the first goal they scored, he got the ball instead of quickly flicking it around, which would have probably caused a chance for us because we nicked it already. He was wary about the contact. So he's gone to shield the guy. He's lost the ball, counter, goal. So Saka's even Martinelli. That's my guy. Martinelli's my guy. But this season he's been dead. I can't lie. He's been dead. He's worked hard. And I look behind him, and when you look behind him, there's no one. So I kind of understand it's there. Havertz coming in for Xhaka hasn't helped him. Jesus in the box, Jesus is, he's as bad as Eddie is. So when we're talking in the box, we ain't got a striker in the box. So Arteta to come out and say we need to be doing better in both boxes. You left us with Jesus and Eddie in the attacking box. We all know they're not gunmen. We ain't got gunmen on the wings yet. And the tactical tweaks you made had nullified that, because Saka and Martinelli, they was on a good trajectory last season. Like it was safe to assume one of them would hit maybe 18 to 20 Premier League goals this season on that trajectory. Instead, they might struggle for 10. Well, Martinelli might struggle for 10. So all in all, bro, like you're right. Like Arteta needs to fix it. It's the second high level problem he's had at the highest level. Like he's had problems 2.5 years ago, a year and a half. End of last season, when we lost Tomiyasu and Saliba, that was the first highest level problem he had in the title race. How do you work around this? He couldn't. Yeah, some people might say unfortunate, which it was with both injuries in one game. But some people might also look at Holding and say, well, you kept hold of him and gave him new contracts. And, you bought in Kivior in January, 25 million, maybe you didn't, So at the end of the day, yes, unfortunate. But at the same time, you had resources that you believed in that you couldn't call upon, or you did call upon and let you down. This season now, second highest level problem he's got to fix, and he's got to fix it, bro. Like, and it's not necessarily the window that fixes it, because I'm looking around the market and thinking, who can we realistically get? And then we've got FFP, bro. I get why FFP's over our head, but that's why the Havertz deal makes me even more mad, because we could have bought Kudus and Diaby for just over what we paid for Havertz. And what have we done there? So listen, big up Mikel for taking us, into a conversation for titles and whatnot. But you've raised the standards, so your standards have also got to raise with it. And I'm sure he knows that, because he does kind of like he has talked up the thing in terms of the last, we must win major trophies. He said things that Arsenal not back yet. So he understands what winning a major trophy will do and how much it's needed at this club now. But whether he's got I don't know if he feels quite arrogant this season, stubborn in his tactics. I don't feel like he's open to kind of putting his hands up and saying, listen, you know what, this ain't working. Because as much as people might say Partey missing is key, it is key. But he started with Partey right back at the start of the season. So God knows what the plan was when all of them was fit. Oh, sorry, man. I just went off on one.
No, that's what you're up, bro. I've been talking for an hour and a half. That's all I wanted you on for. Listen, today, usually when I do Arsenal therapy, sometimes I'm ranting. But today I was like, do you know what? It's not even It's the new year. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to talk through it. But how do you think we can potentially try and fix what is wrong at the moment? Because as bad as it is, and I'm fuming with yesterday, we're still 3 points off the top. Liverpool could win tonight, obviously go further. In fact, 2 points.
2 points.
It could be 5 if they win. We're not a million miles away, but then we are a bit hamstrung with FFP. The window's here. People want to see new names. How can we get back into that, or is the lack of new investment and new players going to stop us from staying in that race?
I think we can, but Arteta has got to kind of look at what he's done this season and change it up a bit. Now, Partey not going with Ghana is big news for me, because if he can get back to some fitness mid-January, towards the end of January, and we still remain 3 to 5 points away from top of the league, if it's Liverpool, City, whoever, and we get Partey back, and he actually plays the midfield of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, I think that's got all the ingredients for a perfect, balanced midfield.
Yeah.
Then I feel like we can get back into it, but the chances are slim. Like 2 weeks ago, I really believed we can win this Premier League title. Like, as in,
did you?
We still can, but I believed we will be there. We will be there, touch and go, close to saying I believe we will. 2 weeks later, I'm looking at the results. I'm looking at on Big Six. I said if we beat Villa, Brighton, and Liverpool, we're going to win the league. That's what I said. We drew 1, lost 1, and won 1. So at the end of the day, the reason my belief has changed is because of that. But Arteta can still fix it, because the players showed last season that they can put together a healthy winning run. They can, across 10, 15 games, they can win the vast majority. They've shown that, but they've shown that under a different tactical setup. This tactical setup hasn't shown that yet. We are in and around the conversation, but we ain't really, there hasn't really been a patch this season where people are looking at Arsenal and saying, hey, Arsenal are gonna take this league. So as much as we're there, we haven't replicated the fear we was kind of putting into the rest of the league last season, especially the early stages, because we 15 wins, 1 loss in the first 16 games and so on. That was mad. So we can do it, but will Arteta, and even if we do that, even if Partey comes back and we have a midfield 3 of them, we still need City to drop more points. We still need Liverpool to drop points, and I believe they will, but I believe we will. So at the end of the day, that's why my belief is like, after City have gone through their poorest patch in years, and we didn't build a 5, 6, 8 point gap, the chances are slim for them to go through that patch again this season, especially because you didn't capitalize. You see, the year Liverpool won the league, Liverpool capitalized from early. They
so pulled away.
Halfway through the season, Man City are looking to dust themselves off and pick it up in the second half, and they're looking, and Liverpool are gone. So their hopes are kind of like, fuck, we've left it a bit late here, or it's not good enough. This year, Man City, in my opinion, was similar to that season, where if Liverpool or Arsenal capitalized, they might come back from this Club World Cup and look up and think it's going to be a stretch, but we didn't take advantage. Same way Liverpool didn't, but I guess more people expected, including me, Arsenal to. I said, if City don't win this league, it has to be Arsenal. If Liverpool do, and this is no disrespect to Liverpool, because Liverpool are a great side. They're a greater side than Arsenal when you look at the individuals, and Salah and Van Dijk and these players that have won things in this league and Europe as well. But this season, the trajectory of Arsenal and then the transition of Liverpool's midfield was meant to be, if City don't win it, Arsenal are going to win it or capitalize on it. Right now, I can't lie, Liverpool are more primed to do it.
Do you know, for me, bro, I'll be totally honest. I've got less belief in this team than I had last year, because last year we were flying. So it seemed like the only way was up. I don't see how he gets 6 or 7 players that are out of form to just go into form. Both the fullbacks are.
You know what's mad? I'm opposite to you.
Yeah.
Last season, halfway stage, I was thinking, listen, let's not kid ourselves. 5 points over Man City is nothing. It's nothing. So this season, I thought, not because Arsenal have got better. This season, I looked at Man City and thought, I actually believe we might. If Man City keep this form up and we continue winning games, which we haven't, because if we won the last 2 games, this would be a very different conversation right now.
It would,
we haven't. Now I'm with you. Not with you in a sense where I believe more last year. Even in January last year, I think when I really started believing last year was when we beat Tottenham and Man United back to back. Tottenham away, Man United, Eddie Nketiah last minute goal. That's when I was like, shit, hey, we might do this. And then Man City beat us. It calmed down a bit. Then they drew to Forest, and then I was like, shit, we might. Jesus coming back, we might. Obviously, we didn't in the end. But yeah, this season, I felt like because Man City are not the Man City of last season, or I don't believe they are. It's not a 90-point season. It's not even going to be a high 80s point season, in my opinion, this season. So I thought, yeah, we might do it this season, but more for me.
For me, it's just like I feel like Arteta did last season a little bit under the radar. The expectation was top 4 and we shocked people. And I think this season, because the expectation was you shouldn't leave or probably come second behind Man City, I feel like the pressure's revved up on him and the players. And I think, even going into last January, we were like, we were trying to drop 100 million, Caicedo and Mudryk. This one, we're going in saying FFP, it might have to be a loan. We can't get a striker. So my mindset is a lot different to last year. I'm now worried about top 4, bro, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even think about that right now, bro. I'll be honest with you. But in terms of the transfer stuff, this is why I say, well, should have sold Eddie or should have let him go. Should have sold Emil Smith-Rowe. I mean, who else have we? I said it in the chat before I came in. When you look at Arteta's signings, and I've leaned on the success stories, the majority over the last 18 months because we've challenged for a league title, and it's been very positive, the trajectory. But when you do list out the signings over the years, the lists are pretty balanced in terms of good ones and bad ones. So yeah, I think with the whole transfer thing, Edu's part of this as well. We all knew the cut contracts and all of this stuff will catch up to us at some point. And the only way it won't catch up to us is if we win majors that kind of balance out the books and give you more to go and spend. If we don't, and we've been spending the amount we've been spending, then there's going to come a time where we need to tighten up. And that time seems to be coming now because we couldn't even get Raya over the line in the summer. We had to do 3 mil plus 27 later. So all of a sudden, things change an awful lot. That's why, listen, big up the club for spending 100 million rights. I never thought Arsenal would fucking do that. I've been long calling for it. But for me, that was the first step into the new era. Into the era where finally this big stadium and competing with Bayern Munich and wanting to be a big club like that start. We spend 100 mil. We fend off interest from Man City and whoever else for Declan Rice. Listen, we can argue about how strong that interest was and whatever, cool. But they was interested. They made a bid. It was the first time Arsenal have done that. So I thought it's the first step, not the last step of what of this whole FFP thing. Do you get what I'm saying? I think.
Yeah, I get you.
I think, bro, I've called for Mbappe, bro.
I asked that question, bro.
You asked that question. Big up you because people were trying to rip you for that, bro. I don't put that in people's heads. That, in my opinion, we was going into an era where, for the biggest and best players, we will at least try. If we need that position, if we need that, we will at least try. But it seems like 6 months on from that Declan Rice deal, it's tightening up the ship again. We need to think about how that's not what I wanted. Coupled up with the form that we're on going into January, very frustrating. I can't lie to you. And it's not the end of the world. It's not panic stations yet. But trust me, 1 or 2 more losses on the horizon, and if they get panic stations, it's over in terms of the league title. It's over now. Honestly, Lee Judge said it's over on AFT. I honestly think that it's over. I honestly do because
I think it's over.
But I still think we can. The league is so volatile right now that 2 weeks changes everything. 2-3 weeks changes everything. It's just that I don't have the belief that the way Arsenal are playing right now, and the way City have come back from the Club World Cup, and the way Liverpool have kind of smelled blood in a sense. That's something you don't want Liverpool to do, is smell blood, because they've got players that have been there and done that. That's like I mentioned. So if they smell blood, they're going to think, hey, we didn't think we're going to do it this season, but let's go do it because Man City ain't been on it. Arsenal are falling off. So they're the type of club to do that. We're not, because we don't have that. We got young players. So last season when we smelt blood, being 5-8 points clear, we didn't go eat. Liverpool will eat. So I think we've left it very difficult for ourselves. We still can, but I don't think we will.
And like you said there, and another thing that takes that belief away from me, last year it was a straight shootout, us and City. now Klopp's in there as well. We can't even dismiss Villa, but I don't think Villa are going to win the league. But I just think having Klopp and Pep in front of Arteta, like, you know, they're the kind of managers that, like you said, when they got an opportunity, they grab it. They're winners. Do you know what I mean? And I just think even if City don't get it together, I feel like Klopp will grab it because he's just been there, and Van Dijk knows what it takes, and Trent knows, and Salah can score 15 goals in, you know, 8-9 games. I just don't think we've got that cutting edge. We're not ruthless. I don't feel like teams are scared of Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. No,
you know what I mean?
We was on the trajectory last season of teams being scared of Arsenal. I think after the first half of the season, 19 games, 50 points, the way we was playing, the goals we were scoring, no one knew whether it's coming from Saka, Odegaard, Jesus, well, up until then, Martinelli. We started putting fear into teams. This season, it feels like we've kind of undone a lot of that. Not undone it to a point where it can't be reversed. I just feel like now teams are coming. Look, the biggest myth this season for me is when people are coming out saying we're going to face a low block. I haven't done the maths on it, but go into each individual game. I bet you it's a lot more balanced in terms of what Arsenal have faced than people out there that scream low block think. Yeah. I think it's actually a 50-50 balance. What team did Tottenham didn't come and low block against Arsenal, and we struggled in that one. That was one of our poorest performances earlier on in the season. Yeah, we got a draw, but I'm saying, you know, we expected better. Who else? Aston Villa.
Even yesterday, bro. Fulham were going at us.
Yes, Luton didn't low block us.
Yeah,
they came out to press. So that's the biggest myth. People use that whole, it's low blocks. We ain't faced low blocks like that. That's what's exposed our lack of fluidity more for me, because I'm looking on the pitch, and you're a baller, so you know you're seeing the space and you're thinking. For example, yesterday, Saka just hit it around the corner, take the hit from whoever's running in behind, hit it around the corner. That person's out of the game. 3 man going into the box against 1-2 man, probably get a goal out of it. Well, I say probably now at this rate, maybe not, but at least a good chance out of it. Instead, when we pick up the ball in these situations where there's space in behind, it's a resetting. Go back to Raya or go to Saliba or go to Gabriel. You know, let's reset. And someone said it on AFTV Fan Zone yesterday. We create the low block against us.
Yeah. By the slow play. Yeah.
Bro, because we're so slow that everyone gets back.
Yeah.
So it's just mad to me, bro. Like, Arteta has to flip it around.
He has to
flip it around, and he has to. If he believes in this way, he needs to approach it a bit better. Because you know what, Arteta over the years, tactically, I can't lie to you. Like, look at the FA Cup run. He managed to, what did he go into? A back five, Ainsley Maitland-Niles left wing back. The year after that, I think we went to like a 4-1-4-1, was it? Or something like that, 4-3.
Yeah.
He's mixed it up over the years. So I know that he can mix it up. But will he, now that he's been put on a pedestal, kind of? Because he has got a lot of plaudits over the last year. Has that got to his head? Does he now believe that he needs to stick to this vision now to do it? Because without the funds, FFP and all that, you've got these players here, and what you've tried to do in the first 20 games has worked somewhat.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work for the rest of the season. I think there's enough evidence to say that. And by work for the rest of the season, I mean win the league. So that's why I said look in the mirror, because even at halftime, when the panel and the watch along were asking, what do you think he's going to say to the players? I said he should walk into a room alone and look in the mirror. Because for me, the players are poor, but the players seem to be following the instruction or not understanding the instructions to follow, one or the other, more than it is, you know, this reset thing that I see. It pisses man off, because the space we have to work into, because teams are not setting up low block against us like that. Yeah, boring.
Yeah, man. Do you know what, mate? I'm going to wrap it up in a minute, because I know you're on in 10 minutes. Make sure you go and watch
I changed mine to 5 p.m, but yeah.
All right, we'll do. All right, he's on at 5 p.m, but it wouldn't be a show with you on here without me talking about the owners, of course. Do you know what I mean? I was talking about the owners yesterday because I saw some article about the whole FFP thing and saying that club owners are allowed to pump 30 million a season into the club out of their own pocket. And the Kroenkes have never done it at Arsenal. So even in this window, they could put 30 million in. If you could sell an Eddie or a Smith Rowe for 30, 40, there's a good player through the door. Are you Are you any more belief in them than you had before? Because obviously they have given him a lot of money to spend, but to me, a good owner is about more than just giving money to a
100%.
technical director. You know, there's way more than that.
100%. I haven't changed my opinion of them because the damage they done to us over a 15-year period cannot be undone by 2 years of seemingly good work. And it has been 2 years of good work. I won't even say seemingly. It's been 2 years of good work. But to take us where we was at and put us where we was, even though you put us where we was at, I'm not going to forget that. Okay, the last 2 years you've done well, but it's 2 years to 15. So there's still a lot of work to do. And, you know, trophies will narrow that gap, and decisions, tough decisions at the highest level will narrow that gap. And, you know, it's not just money, bro, because if it was just money, Man United and Chelsea will be back-to-back winning leagues with Man City, you know, if it was just money. So it's about trust, and I think that's what they've done quite well with Arteta over the years. You know, we might not be back in a title conversation if we did sack Arteta during that period where Emil Smith-Rowe and these men saved us against Chelsea. But that patch was mad.
Yeah.
I can't believe he got out of that patch. But listen, 2 years later, title conversations, fine. The trust, in my opinion, worked. Well done to them. But this season, if we fall off 10, 15 points, if we don't win anything big, and, you know, we've regressed in a sense where going into the season after we are not in the title conversation no more, then questions have to be asked, bro. And people get on to me about that. But I'm just like, bro, like at the end of the day, my man said himself that Arsenal should be winning the majors. He said himself that that's the next step. So whether you believe this 5-phase plan or not, and all this I don't even know what phase we're on in this plan anyway. Well, we must
they said we're in phase 4 or 5.
Phase 4, yeah. Well, we're close to the end. We're close to the end, unless there's an extension on the end, like these Fast and Furious movies, and it goes to 10, 11, 12, bro. I don't know. 5 will be enough. That means 2025. In my opinion, if we this year lose out on the title 1, 2 points, 3 points, 4, 5, maybe max, then I'm like, fuck it, man. We put in another challenge. Man City won it. They're a beast. If Liverpool win it, it's a bit more like, I know Liverpool are beasts, but they're not Man City, and this was meant to be our one, so questions should be asked. But if we finish 10, 15 points off, that's a different story. So there's different ways that this season could finish, resulting in the same thing, which is nothing, that I think that he would either get questions about or should be questioned about or potentially gets away with.
Yeah. I mean, listen, for me with Arteta, I'm in the point now with him. Unless he can pull something out the bag, this season's worrying for me. You know, even that Liverpool game next week, Arteta's been quite casual about the domestic trophies, and he makes a lot of changes. I can see him changing things. It's just, if he doesn't win the Prem or the Champions League this year, for me personally, I would be having conversations with other managers, because you can't just sack him without a proper replay. If you can get a world-class manager and he wants to come, I'd be, because how long do you give him? That's why I always say to Kevin Campbell, he goes, he needs another year, he needs another, but how many years? This is his 5th season, 4th full season.
Fourth full one, yeah?
Fourth full one.
Yeah.
8th second. Yeah, 4th full
second, yeah.
Yeah. 4.5 years at a big club. Not many managers get that with one trophy. 100%. One FA Cup that was, you know what I mean?
You know, my problem with preempting it is, like I said 2 weeks ago, I really believe that we could be there come May, you know. So right now I think it's a proper good time for this break, for Mikel especially. I think now is the time to really look in that mirror and come back a different beast. You know, come back against Palace, who have, you know, picked it up, who have got threats themselves. Come back up against Palace with a bang. Like Man City came back against Everton away with a bang.
Yeah.
Come back with a bang. Come back with something a bit different. And then in 2, 3, 4 weeks, the conversation might change a bit. It's so volatile, because as much as Man City come back with a bang, then they go on and beat Sheffield United a couple goals to 0. I'm still not seeing the Man City that, you know, I usually see. Liverpool have been the best of the bunch, but they're not gone. They're still there. So this is the perfect time for this break. So this period now, in my opinion, is key, because if we come back against Palace and even if we win it 2-1 or something like that, and it's one of those controlling ones where we get away with it, we're 2-0 up, Palace score in the 78th minute, and then for the last 10 minutes it's a bit of pressure. Like, I think that's happened a few times this season.
Yeah, it has happened a few times.
If it's like that, that's dead, bro. But if we come back and it's comprehensive, it's 2-0, it's 3-0, or 5-1, or it's something different, then for me that could be the start, because the start of the start of the title race was game week 20. We've lost our first game of the season in the title race, in my opinion. It was 0-0 Man City, 2 Liverpool. We've lost our first game in that. We have to make it up now. And the 2-week break, you're right though, that Liverpool one, that 2-week break could become even more stressful, because if we go out to Liverpool in the FA Cup, I love the FA Cup. The FA Cup, I always want the FA Cup. It's not the League Cup to me. That's the side dish. FA Cup is, for me, is a main domestic trophy. It's part of the double, it's part of the treble. So I want the FA Cup, but I'm tired of the way we've been going out in recent years. Now it's Liverpool. The excuses are going to be ready-made, in my opinion, if we do go, there's Liverpool, they're a big side, they're a great side, tough draw. No, we're home. We're home, and we're back in this conversation. Yeah, we should be winning this. We should be going through, So that's a big one. If we go out to Liverpool on top of the last 2 L's, bro, that is peak.
That creates a lot of pressure. I think Salah's going to be missing for that game, I hope, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, just rounding up, I mean, tactically with Arteta, what can he do? Because I saw signs yesterday that I've never seen, with it looked like players were blaming each other and having arguments on the pitch. You've seen the right, that wasn't just, oh, come on. It was like they were fully. Do you think cracks starting to appear in that dressing room? There's reports going around. Some of the players weren't happy with Ramsdale, how he's been treated, and it feels to me like Arteta's tried to double down. I feel like that system last season wasn't broken. You just needed to improve the depth and add more quality to the starting 11 and go again, for me, with the same system.
Yeah.
Be versatile, have a plan B, but what we did last year worked. It was because Saliba was injured, Rob Holding was the depth, Jesus came out, and Ketty was the depth. But do you think he's changed too much and tried to do something else that he didn't really need to do?
100%, bro. I haven't seen it before where a team challenges for a title and then flips it up so much. I've seen tweaks, and I call these tweaks from Arteta. It's not tweaks. I just don't know the tweaks is something small. Do you get it?
Yeah.
This is not something small that's changed. It's a shift. Yeah, it's more a shift than a tweak. I haven't seen a title challenging side on the trajectory that Arsenal were on and the average age of the squad shift as much as we have this season. It just hasn't made sense to me. When we're top of the league a few weeks ago, like I said, concerns, fuck my concerns. We ain't top of the league no more. We're fourth. We're fourth, having lost 2, 1 win in the last 5, coupled up with Man City returning from Club World Cup, seemingly on top form with their 2, best players, imminently coming back. Yeah, so as much as that break's good for us and Arteta, it's good for them and Haaland and De Bruyne as well coming back. So, yeah, I think tactically he needs to. Firstly, actually, that Rice Gabriel thing, I don't mind that. I actually like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
I like accountability. So if you're pissed off with someone on the pitch and things ain't going well, I'd rather see you vex with each other. I don't want no Kieran Dyer Lee Bowyer thing. I want arguments. I don't mind. I don't even mind if you grab someone's shirt. Like, I don't mind a little Roy Keane or Vieira type of thing. I don't mind that, because things ain't good at the moment. 1 win in 5. I don't expect you to be happy. So a bit of that on the pitch, I don't mind. Not too much, because don't air your dirty laundry in the public or whatever people say. I don't know the saying. So a bit of that's fine. At least I know you care. But really and truly, I feel like is it a sign of cracks? I think it's a sign of frustration. Yeah, you could say cracks, frustration. I think it kind of shows that they might be angry with each other because one's not happy with the other one not doing what they're asked to do. But the key is what they're asked to do, because even what they're being asked to do, either it's not being understood or they're doing it and it's not working, because that's the facts in the last 5 games at least, or 4 of the last 5. So I don't mind that stuff. And tactically, what Arteta can do, bro. I lean back to that Havertz one, bro.
Oh,
We was meant to have other options. If we had DRB and Kudus instead of Havertz, we could talk about tactically what we can do. We could talk about opening up a little bit more and being a bit more free flowing and whatnot. I can't believe the years on end that I cried about needing an upgrade on Xhaka. We got a downgrade.
yeah.
How does that happen? How does that happen? I don't
For
understand
more
it.
money, we bought a downgrade.
It's crazy. I really don't understand it. I didn't think that was possible, but we went and done it. So even the whole you're right to question tactically. That's why the Partey thing's key, bro. You take out Havertz, you put Partey 6, Rice 8, and Odegaard 10 or 8.
Yeah.
They're both 8s really. I think there you've got enough to say you can go back tactically to last year and a bit more of the free flowing, exciting stuff again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Partey return is key to all of it. And does he return at 6 or does he return at right back there? We're yet to find that.
And the last thing, because the other thing is really, innit, I'm sitting there on the stream yesterday, I'm going, you got to drop this guy, you got to drop that guy. But then I'm like, well, who are you dropping him for? Like, I'm looking at Ben White saying drop him, but what, Cedric? Or do you know what I mean? An Odegaard is just frustrating as hell at the moment as well.
The shimmies, bro. The shimmy.
Bro, let me just ask you, because your mindset with Arsenal is very similar to me. Like I'd like to believe you care about things like the numbers and the armband and all things like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I see, look, you got a whole merch store behind you there, but Odegaard as captain rolling around on the floor and Eddie wearing the 14 just doing nothing up front. Like, what do you think about these kind of things, the number and the armbands? People go, it's just an armband. You can be the leader without it. But,
bro, you see the armband thing, yeah? The best I've always said it. Roy Keane's one of my favorite players. Listen, I'm Irish. I know we came up against them. He was a cunt to us, but I'm also Irish and he's a legend. So Roy Keane and Tony Adams are the two captains for me that, stand tallest above, whoever else since I've been alive. Then you have like Patrick Vieira, John Terry as well. These they're great captains too. What do they have all in common? They're tough guys. They're guys that are gonna, if need be, gather the troops together and deliver one of those real, like, ride or die kind of speeches when needed. Odegaard ain't gonna do that. Odegaard is not gonna come here and lift the whole, like, it's not gonna be a whole Viking thing and everyone's on a mountain. It's gonna be a, like, the hair goes back, like, it's gonna be a bit of a cute. And listen, I've said, Odegaard has been captain whilst we challenged for a league title last year, and we was top this season at points even recently. So I'm not going to debate it right now because I don't think it makes sense to debate it mid-season. But really and truly, if I was to pick an Arsenal captain, it would be Declan Rice, number 1, and then it'll probably be Gabriel Saliba, number 2, one of the centre backs. Maybe Saliba a bit young for it. Maybe a bit young for it. But actually, is he? When Odegaard got it a couple of years ago, and he was about 22 then. So the captain thing for me is like I've always preferred a captain that's gonna really rally the troops, a captain that's gonna leave it all on the line, a captain that if you're getting bullied, he's gonna come over and bully the bully. That's the sort of captain that I prefer as, watching football and even, playing Sunday league, Saturday league, whatever it was back in the day. I prefer that. You feel more, you got a leader there, you feel a bit safer. So with Odegaard, I don't know if you get that. And the rolling around on the floor thing and all that, even, bro, on the watch-alongs, I'm always like, just get up. We're losing. Saka does it as well. A few of them do it, Martin. I'm just like, you man, get up. It was a little kick. I beg you, just get up and play, because all these little kicks staying on the floor, even the other team are looking at it like, we're getting them.
Yeah.
That's soft.
Psychologically, in it, you think,
bro, get up and face up. I'd rather you do that. Hold the pain and get up, face up, and let's go. Or take the quick free kick and let's go. Make the other team think, shit, these kicks ain't working. You keep on rolling around and crying about it, teams are going to continue doing it. And the numbers thing, bro. You see that? Where is it? That, bro.
Oh, come on. Oh, don't do it to me.
Come on. Even if, come on, that. You know what that is now? Do you know what that is now? Eddie Smith Rowe.
Mad, isn't it? They should have retired 14, you know. I said they should have locked it off.
Of course they should have locked it up. Of course they should have. And even right, he spoke about how highly he rates number 8 shirt when this new collab got released. You know? So numbers matter. Don't let people tell you numbers don't matter. Numbers matter. 14. Before Henri, for me, 14 meant nothing.
Nothing at all. I didn't even want it. It was a substitute
14,
number.
14, bro. Who does that? Yeah, who does that? But Henri made that number. Made it. And the number 10 is a bit different because number 10, a lot of greats wore it.
Maradona, Messi, yeah.
So number 10 is a bit different. Bergkamp belongs in that category for sure. 14 was made. You know, it was made. This is, man, like Eddie's got it, you know.
Bro, I swear that. But you know, when you said that, I sunk back in my chair a little bit. Like, I actually had a little moment of silence there. Like, no, man used to fight in the gym. No, coach, can I have 14? He's like, yo, you're starting. No, I want 14.
Yeah,
Thierry, pull the socks up.
He made that number, bro. Even when he came back number 12, I'm like, say no more, bro. We'll take that one as well as the king.
Yeah, 12. He wore it for France as well. So it was. Listen, you know what? I'm going to wrap up there anyway because I've been on for 2 hours. But, bro, I've enjoyed it. Listen, we said it for time, but during this little winter break, we got to get the show sorted.
After FA Cup Liverpool that week, me and you will get the show sorted, bro.
We get the show sorted, man.
I'm going to go live at 5 now anyway. I've already moved the stream, so yeah, I'm all good.
So you're going live at 5, and Big Six is tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, 10 p.m. Yeah.
10 p.m. So yeah, you're gonna have problems again,
bro. I'm coming with my chef hat as well. I'm gonna cook as well.
Yeah, they're coming for you tomorrow, bro.
What did Kano say? I could never be food. I have to cook as well. I have to cook tomorrow as well. So we'll all be there.
The fact you're going live by yourself is just legendary in itself because you hardly ever go live.
Bro, man's coming back. I'm coming back slowly but surely. My solos have come back here and there. Me and you show coming soon. Me, Shuroy, Babs as well. Dan, we've got a few things coming anyway, people. Yeah, my channel's there. I'm picking it up again 2024.
Yeah. All right, big up Turkey. You know, I'm just going to round up now. Big up for everyone tuned in. 3,000 of you in the chat. Hit the like button, subscribe. Go and follow Turkish. She'll be on at 5 o'clock. Tune in for that. Big Six tomorrow. What time? 9, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow 2 p.m. I'll just get that super chat in. I think instead of underperforming this season, our team was overperforming last season. Doesn't help in the grand scheme of things. We have a fullback crisis, one injury away from Kivior, Cedric. Fullback's attack is predictable. I mean, yeah, Kivior yesterday, that was mad. But listen, big up to everyone tuned in. I'll be back 2 p.m. tomorrow. Make sure you tune into Turkish at 5. I'm out, people.